Well, you have to stop and ask yourself, does this moment in time, this energy, this thing that's getting my energy, I'm giving energy to it, I'm sharing out this energy with other people, how does this help me become the person that I want to be? How does this help me build the business that I want to build? Is it just like we're using it for like, I want to share out information, I want to see what everybody thinks? Our world is a very interesting place right now of how inaccurate you can have information be and be bombarded with it all day long.
Welcome everyone to 10 Tenths, where we coach agents into high-performing businesses that fuel their lives. As always, I am here with my good friend and co-host, Garrett Fry, and you guys are here listening to this podcast on your favorite device. At least I hope it's your favorite device. If it's your non-favorite device, I guess
find one.
You're switching it up a little bit today. Garrett, good morning.
Good morning, sir. We're all fired up today. I hope you guys are ready for us.
Oh my gosh. We're going to share something that just shows that, yeah, the market is a bit slow this summer because all y'all are focused on something else. Before we get into that, if there's any seats left for our event, we're hosting our very first live event called Limitless. It's going to be amazing. At this time, we have over half of the driver seats. Yes, driver seats spoken for. So if you want to get in the driver's seat with us, go to limitless.10tenths.co if there's space left and reserve your seat. And if not, join us for the next one because it's going to be awesome.
I had somebody call me this morning who signed up, Matt, and she's like, I'm so ready to drive fast with you guys. I'm like, that's part of the event. That's part of it. It's one half of one day.
It's going to be an awesome part, though. I mean, the whole event's going to be amazing. I'm super excited. Can't wait to share with you all like what comes out of it. We're going to have a live audience podcast recording that's going to take place during it. And so you'll hear about it. It's going to be great. But Garrett, we got something to talk about. It seems like this thing has resurfaced. Yeah,
so this is interesting because this graphic showed back up in my world this morning where it was kind of like, it was somebody trying to say, hey, look, you should pay attention to this. This is the reality out here right now. I found this interesting. And it made me stop and go, what are we really looking at? And for a second there, I kind of bit on it. And I bid on it going like, well, let's look at these numbers. And I had a really interesting way. I was going like, well, let's look at the positive side of this. The information that came back around is, oh my gosh, Matt, 84% of realtors haven't had a transaction between January 1st and July 6th, some random date that was chosen. We're like, so first question mark there. Then you have this thing at the bottom that says all information should be taken with a grain of salt, which I did some more research on it, and it was like NAR would never use an actual saying like that at the bottom of their graph.
I think we should put that should be required disclosure on every statistic that is published, is that underneath it, you need to require it to say these numbers should be taken with a grain of salt.
Okay, so based on the numbers that were shared with me, Matt, I was like all prepared because I'm looking at this and going, okay, so if 84% of people haven't had a transaction, well, what's the flip side of that? Because it gave a breakdown of like, 0 to 4 transactions, like 6 to whatever. Well, when I started looking at the bigger numbers, anybody who did 20 to 300 sides, it broke out about 34,000 people out of the all licensed, out there. And I was like, well, what if we focus on it that way? Because that's pretty impressive. Like if I said to you, I'm going to get you in a room with 34,000 other realtors that have proven that they can do 20 or more sides every single year, wouldn't that be a powerful way to be like, look, people are making a living out here. They're making this work. This is awesome. But then we went further into the data, and then we started researching even more because we're like, this doesn't make any sense. Here we're trying to justify it but Matt's a prime example of somebody who has a license but isn't actively selling and we're like, wait, stop. What are we doing? Let's figure out what the real data is. So here's the real numbers, folks. So you can go pay attention to this and we can actually be done talking about this stupid grain of salt graph that's been given to us. The real numbers are that 19% approximately And I'm looking at agents that did 20 or more sides in the last year. 19%, which equals about 265,000 real estate agents did more than 20 sides. That is the fact. That is the number you should be paying attention to. That is the information this is real information, by the way, from the National Association of Realtors. Matt and I didn't pluck it out of thin air. We didn't just, Matt verified it on his end. I looked it up on my end. Numbers all match up. So we have,
You all can get the member profile for free from the NAR that'll tell you all of this stuff.
265,000 realtors did 20 or more sides last year. So let's please stop talking about this. But 80% of people haven't sold a home. Please stop and go research it. It is clickbait. It is meant to get your attention. And then, as Matt said to me, you can always tell when the business just slows just a little bit. All of a sudden, we start running out there and we start clicking on things that support the world that we're looking for right now. And there are people that feed off of this. They are built to go, how can I make something that lots of people will click on, lots of people will share, that will make my algorithms blow up through the roof? Let's fire up realtors. Let's do that one.
I love too the number of people who like take the graphic and reformat it into like their own colors and all this stuff.
Do they keep the let's take all information at a grain of salt? Do they keep that piece on there? Because that's an important part.
Yeah, it is. I've seen a couple where it trims it off, but I mean, for the most part, also like I didn't realize that like pre-con is a term that's usually used in stats, which pre-construction. So we're not going to talk about the stats here. That's not what we're talking about. Because here's the other thing: who cares? Like,
Yeah.
If you're a producing agent, it doesn't matter how many agents are not producing, at all. The broader thing that I'm concerned about, Garrett, is how we as professionals are showing up on social media, in our marketing, and also what are we filling our mind with too? Like, forget about what we're presenting. What are we taking in? And you know, you and I talk a lot about AI. We like AI from the standpoint of improving operations, efficiencies, and things like that. It's tools you and I use every single day.
Every day.
And I think most people have a love-hate relationship with certain things. One of the things that I hate is, yes, the content out there is outrageously saturated, but what's really more disparaging is like the fake stories that are created that people share and comment on and all this stuff. And you're filling your mind with a lot of negativity that isn't even really true. And how is that serving you? Right?
Well,
like focusing on a thing like this, like how is that serving you in your business? How does that change the way that you're going to show up and provide value and service to the people that are actually buying and selling homes out there? And I would argue that by consuming and perpetuating certain things, you're actually going to degrade your level of service for many different reasons.
Well, we just did a whole book on it, Matt, which was Thinking in Bets. So if any of you like reading and want to read along with us in our community, Matt and I devour books, and we have tons that we've done. This last one we did was Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke, and she made a part of that book was talking about when you are looking for any evidence on stuff, things that back up your belief system, what you want to find, your brain will go out there and search for it. We talk a lot about it as a reticular activating system will do this. It'll constantly look for things that support our beliefs. And the problem is that you get a little slow, you get a little slump in your business, and then we go, all right, and you non-consciously put yourself out here in the social media world, and we go, ooh, there's something that backs it up. Here's another report that backs it up. Here's another piece of realtor information that is totally unverified, but this backs up. This feels good because it fits the belief that I kind of am rolling with right now, and it just anchors it even more. And the problem is, we see this happen, by the way, Matt, Republican, Democrat. Very easy. All you have to do is go on to whatever your news source that you want to go look at, and you go, yep, more. Oh, yep, that backs up my belief. That backs up my belief. And then if you ever go look at the other news sources, your brain goes, how are they even talking about this? Like, how are they even seeing it from this side? where somebody that has those beliefs on that side of going, ooh, yep, that feels right. This supports my belief. This supports it all. I'm not saying either one are right. It's just a crazy thing, the way our brains work and how we're fed information right now. And this is the danger of going out and finding this crazy information is that this is a prime example of manufactured data to buy into somebody's brain who's maybe a little worried right now about what's going on. And it just perpetuates that for this person in their life, because the more backup they get from it, they start going out and they start making phone calls to their database and like, see, I knew it. These people aren't selling. These people don't want to sell. They're staying put. They're worried about the interest rates and what their payment is right now, and they're saying they're going to stay there for the next 15 years. It's all over the place. We're never going to sell a home again. And you go into a death spiral, and we watch it happen all the time. And the best thing you can do is stop sharing stuff like this. Stop going and looking for it. And Matt, this is where we started this. We're like, how can we get people just to stop going and consuming? And I feel bad because I do really enjoy and love the person that sent me this information. But it's a trap we all fall into. I was trying to figure that out as truth information until we had to sit here and have a logical conversation about it. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it from the perspective of people using it to validate why the market's slow.
Yeah.
Instead of using it the way I think most people do, like, look, most people suck at this business. But interesting in hearing that too, because we do form opinions on things, and we can have the same piece of information, whether it's factual or not, or true or not. We can take the same piece of information and two people can interpret it in different ways to serve their own belief system, their own worldview, whatever it is you want to look at. And it's hard to escape these things. I mean, in the book, Thinking in Bets, Andy Dukes refers to a study that on judges and psychologists and psychiatrists, people who are like supposed to be non-biased, like straight down the middle, like they listen, they interpret, and they fairly judge, right? And found that even they are really biased, particularly when they're surrounded with similar kind of just ideologies, right? And so that's natural, right? We're not going to be able to fully escape from that, but understanding that should throw up the caution flag, right? And I think when it comes to viewing and consuming content on non-verified platforms, like seeing somebody post a graphic that doesn't have a reference link. And by the way, AI the same way. When you're having a conversation with ChatGPT and you ask it questions and it gives you information, go click those little links. There's usually little links that it'll pull in there if it's gone and researched thing. And if there are no links, understand is pulling general information, which may or may not be fully factual, right? And that's if you're just going back and forth, but you click those links and then go read the stories, go verify all the things. I think we're getting really lazy in our verification. I mean, this is nothing new either. I mean, headline bias is a huge thing. I just saw, actually, it was Ryan Serhant. He posted this thing. It was a screenshot of a CNBC article saying, CEO says that there's no more housing market. And he was like, that's interesting interpretation of what I actually said. And then he went on to explain what he actually said. And it's like, these are the things that happen, right? People want to get clicks. They want to get attention. And whether they're using real data or not isn't part of this discussion. Obviously you want to verify that it's real data, but it's just understanding how are you using this process of looking at this stuff, sharing stuff, interpreting stuff to serve you in your mission, to serve you in your business, to help your clients excel. Because there is an opportunity for that for sure, but you want to just be very conscious of those things.
Well, you have to stop and ask yourself, does this moment in time, this energy, this thing that's getting my energy, I'm giving energy to it, I'm sharing out this energy with other people, how does this help me become the person that I want to be? How does this help me build the business that I want to build? Is it just like we're using it for like, I want to share out information, I want to see what everybody thinks? Our world is a very interesting place right now of how inaccurate you can have information be and be bombarded with it all day long. There are so many sites. I love the ones on Facebook because I go into it for pure humor factor alone. where somebody will make just a blanket post of like, I don't care if people have a buyer brokerage agreement, I'm going to work with them anyway. And they'll put that out there, and then you'll watch the thread underneath it blow up in hostility and freakouts. I don't care what somebody wants to list their price home for. I'm taking that listing no matter what, and I'll beat them down on the price. What are your thoughts about it? And it's like, boom, and it blows up underneath that thing with, this is what gives realtors a bad name, and yeah, I support you. That's how you're supposed to do it. These things are not designed to help you be better in any way, shape, or form. They are designed to cause conflict. They're designed to go, oh my gosh, realtors actually think this, and everybody goes into a downward spiral. Nobody, by the way, becomes better out of that, besides me, who gets to laugh at the situation that's going on. That is the best part of it. But I've had so many where I've taken screenshots of posts and sent them out to realtor friends of mine going, can you believe that this is the dialogue that's happening on this? Like, this is frightening a little bit. You gotta laugh. But it's not designed to help you be better. It's not designed to help you have a bigger and better understanding of what's going on. It is designed for clicks. It's designed for people to, because the minute it gets shared, their algorithm goes up. They get to put ad dollars on it. They get to do all kinds of stuff where that thing is now making them money. They are not here to help you. They're there for their own price. That's their own business. It's brilliant. It's not here to help you though.
It really is pretty wild on how that works, because maybe it's even just raw entertainment. I will say I saw a speech once. This was in the past few years, and a very prominent figure in real estate. And I don't want to mention it because I really respect this individual. But in the slide deck were screenshots, and he was pointing to, these are people in your industry, like basically highlighting how, like, you know, the competition isn't as strong as you think because there's other people who are kind of dumb. And I was looking at those posts, I'm like, oh, I've seen those. Those are those fake posts in those fake real estate agent groups. And I was like, and like, this guy is screenshotting them and putting them up on slides in front of thousands of people. And I was like, oh man, like, and so what I mean by saying that is that it's okay if we fall for it. I do too, right? Like, we all do. And I think the catch is to just catch yourself in, what is my intention in processing this so that I can actually focus on something that's productive? Because all of this, like when you guys get into the chat and you're arguing with each other, or even when Garrett and I are spending time on some of this stuff, it's like, hey, how can we serve the community that we're here to serve, right? Like, how are we helping our clients? And learning from others is very important, which is why you want to be selective about the rooms that you're in as well. Because like you said, Garrett, 250,000 agents doing over 20 deals a year. There's a lot of agents that you can surround yourself with that have great experience, that are doing good deals out there in the marketplace. And if you surround yourself with them, you're all going to grow together. Proximity is a big thing. And if you're hanging out with the zero transaction agents, which according to NAR's member profile, by the way, is 6%, not 84. Not 70. It's 6%.
So perspective on this, Matt, though, and this is what I don't, and I know every time I mention a college, you get everybody who goes like, oh, that college or whatnot, and you got your loves. Okay, my love is Texas A&M. That's because my daughter went to school. Kyle Stadium fits 100,000 people. And if you've ever been in that stadium, we've talked about it. We did a podcast on it. It's an intense place. 100,000 people. Okay, so now think we're going to take 260,000 agents, and we're going to say, okay, everybody pile in, and we're going to fill that stadium all the way to the top. And when it gets filled all the way to the top, every seat is filled. We're like, oh my gosh, we need another stadium. We're going to take another stadium. We need to build one right next to it, same size, same everything. Come on, everybody, fill in this one now. We fill that one all the way to the top. And still at that point, we have to go, oh crap, we need another stadium. And this one we're going to get half full. This is the craziness of the numbers of real estate agents that have done 20 or more transactions this year. We need to put it into perspective. You need to start looking at that type of information. And it was to see it circle back around again was like, stop and do a little bit more research. And this is what I want to encourage everybody to do. When you see a number or a post that makes you go, what? Really? Like, wait, hold on. This is your moment to say, before I do anything with this at all, I'm going to ask some questions. I got plenty of information by just taking the screenshot, putting it into AI and just saying, yeah, can you interpret this information for me? And like what the, maybe the accuracy is on this. It started off with everything about this isn't right. It went right away to be like, by the way, National Association of Realtors would not make a post even with this graphic or this format. All this. By the way, that thing of take this with a grain of salt, like that's a huge warning sign right there. And by the way, verbiage NAR wouldn't use. And it just picked it apart one by one, which then had Matt and I would encourage you, call Matt and I if you want to. We'll talk about it with you and go, is this really something? But also lean into other people like your broker and be like, this is the post. This is information I found on it. What do I believe? What's the right thing here? And then which caused Matt to be like, well, let me look up what National Association of Realtors numbers really are. And we're like, oh, that's interesting. That kind of fits with AI. We're kind of going down and we're learning a lot right now. And now you get to become an educated person, but be very careful with that shock media that's out there. It's meant to scare you. It's meant to grab your attention. It's meant to make you want to go, I should share that. And that's the interesting thing, Matt, is a lot of people will then post that on their normal page and they put that out there. So all of a sudden their friends and the people that are not in real estate are going, whoa, that's really interesting right now. Like I didn't know that many realtors aren't selling homes right now. And you create this entire false narrative out there that most people aren't going to go do more research. They will not do it. They take their trusted advisor and they go, oh, wow, that's interesting. That person must know because they're a real estate agent and they're my trusted advisor when it comes to real estate. And now it turns into just misinformation running around the countryside.
This is such a hard, like when you start getting into the different things, it's hard to understand where can I get accurate information then? Not, obviously, if you have something that's quoting another organization, just go to the organization, right? Go to the studies if somebody's quoting something. But I think we talked about this maybe once before, but there's so Mel Robbins runs a very successful, very popular podcast. And I don't listen to her podcast, but every now and then I catch clips, and I remember seeing a couple of clips, and like Mel is a very animated personality, right? So when she has guests on, she lets them talk, and she's very like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that, and all this stuff. And I remember like seeing like back-to-back clips, and I was like, that person contradicted the other person that you had on, and you're saying that both of them are correct. This is very confusing. Well, this happened again recently. Many of you may know about the viral putting your banana in a berry smoothie video that's been going around, and all the health coaches are picking up on it and doing the, what do they call it when they take the video and they then come in with their own thing? Stitch.
Yes.
Stitching. And gosh, these are things that I probably should know. And it's like Mel talking to this person about like why bananas are terrible, and she goes on to explain the study about this ingredient in bananas, and then goes on to say, and that's why I put avocados in my smoothies, which has the same exact ingredient. And it's just like, oh my gosh, but she never explains that in the video. And so all these health coaches are using it, but there's a lot of people who are probably like, oh my gosh, I should never put banana in my smoothie ever again because of this. I'm going to do avocados. No, meanwhile, it's the same ingredient that you're putting in there. And again, it's just coming back to like how are we getting and how are we consuming information? And I will say, because I do this too, most of us, a lot of us consume information on an influencer-based form of aggregate media. Meaning instead of reading, news articles with cited sources, a lot of times we're just listening to influencers who maybe do have actually some real credibility. But we don't go back up the stuff because obviously it takes a long time to go do that stuff. So it is interesting, Garrett. I'm not bringing up to say whether or not you should put bananas or avocados in your smoothies, by the way.
So here's the funny thing. The banana thing ended up at my dinner table over a conversation. And by the way, the fry dinner conversations, especially the more kids, it gets like we've had all of the kids back at the dinner table recently. And we're like, we should record these conversations because they spiral completely out of control. And just imagine 4 of the people like me all together chatting. What's really interesting is this whole banana thing came up, and I'm like, what is the problem that like from that I'm not understanding here. And my son brought up, well, there's like this thing in the potassium that is actually a radioactive thing. And I'm like, wait, what are we talking about? And so then we started, how many bananas would you have to eat for that to actually cause a radioactive level in your body that would be dangerous? And what we researched was you would die from the consumption of bananas before that radioactive actually thing hurt you. So then we start going down all the craziness of like all these posts that are going out right now that are focusing on this one thing that makes people go, oh my gosh, don't eat bananas. Remember the celery craze for a while? You couldn't get celery in stores, and all it was a post just going, oh, the celery diet. Just juice celery as fast as you can. Drink it as
It's calorie negative. You burn more calories than it takes to eat celery. Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. I remember going in the store and there's no celery. I'm like, where the hell did all the celery go? And like, oh yeah, we can't even keep it on the island, in the shelves right now. We are so, I hate to say manipulated, but we are manipulated every single day by so much misinformation. So many people that are just grabbing at stuff to make you go and click through and share, because again, there's an ad model behind all these people who are sharing this stuff. They are not even looking for how can I bring the best out of the people that are around me. They're looking for how can I get clicks? How can I then sell ads on those clicks? And then how can I take all that revenue and go live the life that I want to live? It's a business model and it works for a lot of these people all day long. But be very careful to understand what the game is. They're not trying to help you, and it's not trying to help your business. It is a click generating format for dollars that they're making. And yeah, Matt, you said it right up front. We got to stop sharing crazy information.
And I think we just all need to pause, because here's the thing. I don't want people to feel like you're being villainized for, quote, falling for things, because we all do.
We all do.
Right? I think it's an awareness to say, and also for those of you who are like, I'm so good because I don't fall for those things, like have some empathy for people, because you probably did at one point.
You do. Like that's the stupidest thing is like you do. Like everybody falls for it.
Does.
Everybody, it is human. The way we operate as humans is we search for things that fit our belief. So if you're not falling for what somebody else fell for, you're falling for something that they didn't fall for. I'm just telling you.
You find it in everyday. I mean, gosh, we still see it in like, well, I don't know, that food has a little bit too much fat in it. I don't know if I should eat it. I'm like, well, what about the calories and the ingredients and all the other things in there? Because the whole low fat thing, where we took out healthy fats and replaced it with sugar, hasn't really done very well for us since we've actually done those things. And that's from data and things. But we all did it, right? It was like, ooh, cool, low fat foods. We need to be sure. So have the empathy for the people. And whenever you feel that something just doesn't fit right, like slow down a little bit. Cause like when you hear 84% of agents have done 0 deals, like in the back of your head, you're probably like, that sounds a little strange. There's something odd about that piece of data, because if you look into your own office, are 84% of the agents sitting around doing nothing, doing 0 deals? Probably not. And that's how you can start to analyze things that come out like this. And I should do a better job of that myself too, Garrett. So
we all do. We all need to do a better job at it. And Matt, that's what led us here today is that, again, one piece of information showed up. We did what we should have done. And what's interesting is, again, I was getting ready to have a conversation with our group, the group that we do for coaching, to be able to sit down and be like, let's look at this from a positive standpoint. Let's look at this from a different angle. And I was thinking about getting a stadium with 34,000 people together. Now I'm thinking about 2.5 Kyle Fields. That's what I'm thinking about. That's where we need to keep our focus on, because if anybody has stood on the grass at Kyle Field and just looked around at the size of the stadium, just imagine every single seat in there filled, 2.5 stadiums with people that have done 20 or more sides. That's what you should be paying attention to. There's a lot of real estate being done out here. A lot of people need help with real estate. And again, you get stuck in one of those like, oh, but this information's true. You can get into a downward spiral, and you got to be very, very careful. With that being said,
And Garrett, I just want to leave on a positive note for people where if you kind of look at this stuff and you get like, gosh, real estate is really tough. If you stick it out, you're probably going to do okay, because here's directly from the NAR profile of members. It says here that agents who have been in the business 2 years or less typically do volumes of around 3.3 million. Hey, not bad for your first year or two in the business. While those with 6 to 15 years, so you just hang on a little bit longer, experienced transaction volumes that averaged around 17.6 million. That is a pretty nice year of real estate if you're doing volume like that. So, hey, good news. If you stick around, you're probably going to do pretty well. So don't worry about the numbers anyway. Focus on you. You got this. We believe in you.
I want to second that is that, you know, we can look at all the stats and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, Matt, you and I have been helping people long enough. And what we know is that the business gets better and better and better for people every single year. The amount of people that I've had that have hit an income level where they're like, you know what, I'm pretty good. I don't need to make any more than that. I'm going to use 500,000 as the example. I don't need to make any more than 500,000. So my whole goal is just to stay right here and just continue and be happy with this business. And the next year they make more. And it's not because they worked any harder. It's not because they had to show up any better. It's not because they sent out more postcards. It's not because they did more lunches. It's not because they did more market impact reports. It's because their database gains more confidence in them every single year. They start seeing them more as the professional in their industry. When real estate comes up, their name pops in their mind first because you've been doing this around them longer. It gets better and better and easier every single year if you're building it correctly. If you're focusing on strangers and that's your focus and you're always buying leads and going down that, you're going to play the same game a lot of times over and over again, unless you have a bigger strategy to build on the backside of that, the relationships, the connections, so that you're not constantly relying on outside one-off business. But you continue to build the relationship side. There's always a side there where it just turns into almost like a perpetual motion machine. It just keeps going. And yeah, as we say, Matt, we want to help you build a life, build a business that fuels your life, doesn't consume it. And that is one of the most important things you need to keep in mind. Be careful about the information that we're devouring out there that shows up in our phone, shows up in our world that we can fill hours with sometimes in a day, just doom scrolling through stuff that maybe isn't even accurate to begin with. And fill your days with positivity, fill it with good information, fill it with people that you know and you love and you trust that are going to give you the information that's going to help you be the best you can be. And take a second when you find scary information, just do a little bit more research. Just take a little bit of a next step and be like, is that really what's going on? And I've found the scariest information, the stuff that makes you stop, because that's what they want you to do, stop and share and click through. That's the stuff you need to pay attention to the most, because it may not be what you think it is.
Yeah.
With that being said,
or not pay attention to it.
Just, Matt, thank you, sir. Thanks for kicking this one around with me. I hope everybody found this fun, at least entertaining, and hopefully as you are scrolling and looking through information, you can be like, what did Matt and Garrett say about this? Oh yeah, that's right. Stop, drop, and roll. That's actually what if this seems like it's on fire, the rule is stop, drop, and roll before you do anything else.
I love it. I love it. You have people falling all over the place. Well, guys, if you want to have some fun with this too, head over to our YouTube channel and comment below this episode with the most ridiculous thing that you've seen that you're just like, I can't believe this was out there, right? We would love to hear it. If you guys want to send us some stuff, like send it over. Like we can have some fun with this too, while all also learning together. So hope to see you guys on the next episode. We will be here, and hopefully you will be here too, and share this if you got some value out of it. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.